So hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video, and today we're going to talk about Raid Finder because they're changing many things in Warlords of Draenor. Now, they will still have Raid Finder, as they say here. Raid Finder still has an important place within the new Warlords raid structure. Many players cannot or simply do not want to commit to a fixed group, and no matter how convenient we make organized raiding through Group Finder, it will never be something you can jump in and do for 45 minutes during your downtime on a busy day, the way you might do a Raid Finder wing. So obviously for busy people who work like pretty much everyone else, now they're gonna do this. For people that are not willing to spend time in-game raiding and invest time into getting better items, they will still have Raid Finder. But it goes on. However, we've also learned other lessons from our experience with Raid Finder over the past 2.5 years. Raiding a single zone with a guild or group of friends can stay engaging for months. And one of the core reasons for that is that the pacing of progression through a zone. A raid group might start out learning a new boss or two each week. That pace slows down as the raid reaches the later bosses near the end of a zone. And more time each week is spent re-clearing farm content to gear up further. This keeps the experience varied, and even if you don't get the specific loot you were hoping for in a given week, you're seeing your friends and guildmates progress and get stronger, and you're feeling the impact of those upgrades as you kill bosses faster and faster. Raid Finder offers none of that. Your 9th clear of the Underhold section of Siege of Orgrimmar is likely no faster than your 2nd, and might even be slower. You aren't experiencing anything new or different, so how can we make Raid Finder a more compelling and enjoyable experience? A decent first step is to make it significantly more generous than it has been in the past, nearly doubling the rate of rewards to better match the overall pacing of the content. Now, I don't understand this. How can we make Raid Finder better? Let's give people more loot. Okay, so I kind of don't agree with this. And they follow it up with this. Our intent is for Raid Finder to allow players to experience our raid content, see the conclusion of major storylines, and witness the epic environments that our artists create without needing to commit to an organized raid group. So you want to make Raid Finder into what it was supposed to be, basically this sightseeing tour where you can see the raid, you can kind of experience it, but then you give people twice as much loot. That's what I don't understand. Okay, let's make Raid Finder into what it was supposed to be, so people can see the art, they can see the storylines, they can see the bosses, and let's give them twice as much loot. What? I don't really understand this. But then we have this. We'd like to focus on that purity of purpose and minimize the elements that have made guild raiders feel like they need to do Raid Finder each week as a part of their core progression. Accordingly, while loot will be awarded more frequently, Raid Finder in Warlords will have different loot tables than the normal heroic or mythic versions of the raid, along with different item art. That's great! Want to hear something better? The gear will fall in between dungeon loot and normal mode raid loot in terms of power, as it does today, but without the set bonuses and specific trinkets that tend to make raiders feel like they need to run Raid Finder alongside their weekly guild raids today. Where is that button? Yes! Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you! Now I don't have to run the same raid 3 times a week just to get a trinket or a tier piece. I can just run it once a week and not get bored by it. Thank you! Ah. Clappy, clappy, clap, clap, clap. Amazing. Finally they figured it out. Or maybe people don't want to run the same raid 3 times a week every week. And this is all nice and dandy for people like me or maybe even you, but what about people that just like to do LFR for some reason? Okay, let's not just think about ourselves. Those people who just do LFR, they're gonna get all the gear in half the time and then they have nothing else to do. There are people that just do LFR. I don't know how they can do it without going mad, but they do it. Okay, so the guys at Blizzard, they think that how it's gonna be is basically, yeah, they're gonna go from LFR to normal mode. Once we release another raid, they're gonna go from LFR to normal mode, and once we release another raid, LFR to normal mode. That's not how it's gonna work, is it? Because that only works with the first tier. You know, you do LFR and maybe you jump into normal mode, but once the next tier is released, it's gonna be LFR, LFR, and then maybe normal mode. And once the third tier is released, LFR, 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 and then maybe normal mode. And that unfortunately is not enough for people who just like doing LFR. And we can't ignore this group of people because there is a bunch of them. There is a lot of them. Okay, and if all those people leave, that's not a good thing for the game. And they will leave. If they just like doing Raid Finder, they will have to wait, what, 6 or 7 months to do more raiding? Because they have all the gear. You will have all the gear at half the time. Okay, so they will have all the gear. There is no more gear for them to be obtained. Therefore, there is just nothing to do in LFR. Other than just be mad because this particular group isn't doing it very well. So those people will leave. That's not good. That's too many people leaving. But let's not get too hasty because it's Blizzard we're talking about over here. So, you know, they've been known to fix things and to band-aid things. So, you know, even though I give Blizzard a lot of shit, they're still one of my favorite companies. Just as simple as that. I give them a lot of shit because I want them to be better. But they're still one of my favorite companies. Now, so what I want you to do now, by the way, in the description there is a link to this blog post. Go there, read it, and underneath it there is a comment section. Write your feedback. Because even though most people don't believe this, community managers are reading every single comment. Blizzard has community managers reading all the comments on these posts, on the patch notes, on everything. So if too many people are unhappy with a certain change, they will change it back, or they will do something else. They actually take feedback. Your voice can be heard. So every time you read something from Blizzard on Battle.net and you don't agree with it, just tell them in the comment section. They will read it. One of their community managers will read it, and he will either add it to, you know, the pleasant responses or the concerns or whatever, you know. They accept feedback. They have community managers in their comments reading it and actually picking up the valid criticisms. Okay, so go now.